I was recently contacted by someone who was interested in selling their home in Scottsdale, Arizona. Now, this particular client had questions about the market from what they've seen on the news and the media and just what their friends are saying. And they had questions, what is really true and accurate and what is going on? Now, real estate, again, it is hyper local from Phoenix Metro to each individual community, city, town, even to each neighborhood. And that could not be more true than in Scottsdale, Arizona, and what we're seeing. So it really depends on where you are living. So first, I was like, well, tell me about what you're looking for, your goals, what you think is going on, and we'll go into that. So right now, looking here at Scottsdale, Arizona, there is 1,054 single family detached homes for sale. Now, that is a metric I use. I don't like to look at necessarily condos, patio homes, townhomes. I like to look just at single family detached. It helps me keep, that baseline for what I'm paying attention to. Now, right here, if we look at, the average, median, and low price. So the average listing price, this is list price, not sales price, list price is $2.3 million. And those homes have been on the market for around 90 days. And from what they started that listing to where they're at currently, on average, each has reduced by $126,000 on average. Now, some haven't reduced at all. The median is a little over 1.4 million. Those have been on the market about 2 months. And those homes that haven't sold that have reduced have on average reduced 65,000. The lowest priced home right now in Scottsdale, Arizona is 455,000, and the highest being $32 million. So if you're looking for that luxury home in Scottsdale, then you can find it. There's a lot of options to choose from. So when we go into looking at what is going on in Scottsdale, we need to look at that bigger picture and not just nationally, but the big picture just of Scottsdale and what we're seeing, and then what that means. Let's take a look at the Cromford report and how they broke it down. And again, I love the data they put together. So they use the total listings, and you see this red. So if you're a buyer, the red is good for you. If you're a seller, not necessarily. So right now, active listings, total listings, a little over 1,200. That is down from last month, but up from last quarter. As you can see, last year and 2 years ago, it is well above those numbers as well. But across the board here, Phoenix Metro, across the United States, listings were down then as well. And then we're looking at pending listings. That is down from last month and last quarter. But again, so are the amount of listings, but well below last year and the year before. Now, there's a lot more that goes into that. Here in Phoenix Metro, we're down about 44% in closed sales. And sales per month, though, is actually up from last month and last quarter at 382. Now, a lot of that may have to do with, the rates, the lagging indicator and the dip of rates. Now, a lot of people in Scottsdale, depending on how much you're putting down, but many are going to be looking at, if it's not cash, a jumbo loan. And right now, today, jumbo loans are under 6%. So better than a 30-year conventional if you're buying under that jumbo loan limit. So sales per month, 382, and down from about 100 from last year and 2 years ago at 588. And then sales per year is down as well. But what we're seeing, right now, and a good, data point to pay attention to is the month's supply of inventory. So we're at 2.8. So it would take 2.8 months if no other homes got listed before all of the inventory was gone. So on paper, this is good for sellers, a seller's market, so to speak. That's down from 4.6 months last month and 4.4 last quarter. Now, as you see, there are just a few weeks of inventory a year and 2 years ago. And then we're looking at monthly sales per square foot. Now, our average here in Phoenix Metro is around 280-ish, give or take. And then right here, though, 471, up from 459 last month and 448. So when you see these reports, the market is crashing. Well, the sales price per square foot, and I don't always rely on per square foot, but just another data point, it is up from where it was a month ago, last quarter, and not too far off, just $5 a square foot from where it was last year, where we're almost at the peak of, this time last year. The peak was around April or May. And then 2 years ago, it was a full $100 less per square foot to buy a home. And then if we look at appreciation, no surprise that it has fallen, from year to year. That is just something, if you bought a home last year, do not look at selling it unless you want to lose money in most cases. Just what we're experiencing. We hit that peak and then we have fallen some. And then we're looking here at the average list per square percent per price list price. Average sales per percent of list were around 95.93, down a little bit, up from last quarter, but well below where they were a year and 2 years ago, rightfully so. And then, so if you're looking maybe to get a better deal, because our average in Phoenix Metro is, higher than that. But again, this is a higher end market. So the numbers aren't always going to be congruent with what you see as a whole. And they're going to have also, different strengths and different meanings. And we'll get to one key factor here in a moment. Then your listing success rate. So out of 100 listings, 100 properties listed, 72 and a half will sell. That is up from 64% and 56%. Now it was at 89.8 a year ago. So 65% normal market, normal homes, normal listings is good. Above is good, strong for sellers. And in the luxury market, that's typically a little lower. So for 72.5% of listings that are selling, that are listed that sell, this is very strong for sellers in Scottsdale. Now, if you're a seller here, don't think that, it'll just sell. I can test the market. That is not going to get it done. You're going to be one of, the 30, 28, 27.5% that do not sell. So you can't just put a sign in the yard in any price that you want. And then your average monthly sales price is 1.4. It is trending upward, like I mentioned earlier, not too far below where it was last year, just by, a few $1,000s. So again, that is a good thing if you are a seller where that price is holding steady. But the median did fall slightly. But again, we're up from where it was annually last year. And then monthly, we are again down slightly, up from last quarter, but not too far off from last year or year before. So homes are holding their value, if not growing, in Scottsdale. And then we look at contract ratio. So contract ratio is taking a bunch of different things with inventory, homes under contract, but this number 45.1. So in a normal type of homes, not your higher end or luxury, 30 to 60 is normal. Below that, below 30 is, strong for buyers and not great for sellers. And above that becomes a frenzy. Now in a higher end market, 15 to 25 is going to be your normal range. So this isn't quite Paradise Valley or Cave Creek, but it is higher than most with that average. So 45.1 is a healthy spot if you're a seller in Scottsdale, Arizona. And it is down slightly from last month, but again, up from last quarter. Last quarter, we saw that growth in inventory, rates had jumped up, and we saw a lot of buyers pause, but you can see where it was. Now, other markets here in Phoenix Metro, that number was 500, 400. So again, it stays a little bit lower in your higher end markets. And then when we look at the CMI, the Cromford Market Index, and I'm going to show you a map here breaking down by like zip code in Scottsdale. So we are, again, 100 is balanced above as sellers. We are up to 139. So if you're a seller, this is good news for you. Buyer, not so much. But again, just because this looks in some aspects to be a seller's market, I really consider it an aggressive, balanced market. So we're up from last month and last quarter, but you can see where it was. So if you're a buyer now, be thankful you weren't buying them. But so many buyers were so eager to buy them, they did not care. But that's just what it was. So we're going to look at the contract ratio, and we're going to look at different zip codes. So we're going to start here in the south parts of Scottsdale and 85257. Now that is balanced considered. So, and we are at a 40.7 contract ratio, 30 to 60. Remember, normal is balanced. There's 91 active, 37 under contract. And if you go to 85251, again, balanced, it is 44. 85253, it is a frenzy, but there's not much going on there. There's only one active and one under contract. So that's why you have to look at the data with more detail than just what could be reported. I could report on this and say it is a buying frenzy. Well, then when you look closer, like, well, there's only one active and one under contract. There's just not a lot of turnover. 85250, again, balanced, 94 active, 42 under contract. So, big difference here just because of the amount of people willing to transact homes there. 85258, again, balanced, 47.8, 157 active, 75 under contract. And then 85260 balanced. It's 131 active, 53 under contract. Magic zip code 85254. That is always a more active area. People seek that area out specifically with Paradise Valley Schools, Phoenix taxes, and Scottsdale address. And you are considered hot. 160 active, 126 under contract. And then we're going up to 85260. Again, just balance 40.5 right in the middle. 131 active. So you can see how it changes and how it matters what you're looking at, of where you're looking when it comes to real estate data. 85259 again is considered hot, 91 active, 65 under contract, and then 85255 it is hot, 267 active, 166 under contract. So you got to understand these zip codes of what is in those zip codes. McCormick Ranch, DC Ranch, Gainey. There's certain reasons, there's certain draws that bring people in there, and again, supply and demand. And where do people want to be? And we're going to pull up one more before we get out of here. And again, talking about the contract ratio or the Cromford Market Index. So again, 100 is balanced, above is a seller's market. And this is where we are today. And this shows 142.6. Now, if we look at last year, it's like, holy cow. Now, again, I could report on this like, oh, we have Scottsdale's tanked, it has fallen out, it is a buying frenzy. But then you have to understand where last year was. It was unprecedented times. And even into the year before, again, it was still crazy. And you see that dip, and that's right around when rates jumped up right here in 2022. And we saw that pullback and that buyer demand really fall. And even into 2020, when things were more normal, this is when, but it was still, we're below that. We didn't have the pandemic things happening then. So yes, we are. So you have to understand, I could report, say, oh, we are in a seller's market. It has never been hotter. But then when you look at this data from, I'm not going to even worry about 2021, 2022, because that was abnormal. But you can see here, we're below where we were pre-pandemic times. And then that's when it really just started to take off. And then if you look at 2019, we're ahead of that. So I'm calling it just aggressive balance. It is fairly normal. So if you're looking to get into Scottsdale, call Scottsdale home, then you have to understand why you're moving. Are you moving it to sell in a year? Well, then maybe you shouldn't, unless you're willing to take that loss. And if you are looking for a home, head over to my website. You can check out the neighborhoods, different schools, schedule showings with me, and just see for yourself what is out there and where you see yourself being. And again, that's the breakdown on Scottsdale. It does differ from the market as a whole, and it's good to pay attention to, again, a little bit of the finer details of where you want to call home, even down by neighborhood. So hopefully this answers some questions, didn't cause more confusion. Let me know what your thoughts. Where do you see Scottsdale prices going? You see them climbing, holding steady, or completely falling, becoming a discount spot? It's still going to be a desired area. It still has that feeling where people live there. They don't need to go anywhere else for vacation, because that is vacation for them. And then what are your favorite neighborhoods in Scottsdale? Happy to cover those for you as well. But watch this next video. I'll see you on the next one.